a survivor of acute lymphoblastic leukemia, which is one of the most common childhood cancers. I was introduced to the Sunshine Kids Foundation back in 1990 when I was a little girl. My social worker at Children's National Medical Center and basically asked me if I wanted to go skiing for a week in Colorado. And of course, I said yes. So I wanted to go because chemo's hard and it's long, and the prospect of being able to go away for a week and not have parents and doctors and nurses and people poking and prodding and doing all types of things to you for a week was obviously attractive. So an exciting prospect.
When I was 15 years old, I was in the middle of my third battle with cancer, and hopefully my final battle. And I was approached by a nurse practitioner at my hospital who asked if I wanted to go on a trip to Texas, which as a girl from Brooklyn was something I had never really considered before, definitely out of my kind of normal day-to-day activities. But I also have a secret love for country music, so I definitely jumped at the chance because that's not really something we talk about in Brooklyn. And so I was eager to go and eager to get out of the hospital and have some fun and be a kid again. So I gladly went to Texas, but what I didn't realize was that it would be the most transformative week of my entire life. My life involved going to the hospital a lot and taking medication and feeling sick and having surgery. Like, that was just my life. And I had accepted that. But the Sunshine Kids kind of break kids with cancer and teenagers with cancer out of that cycle and allow them to experience something other than going to the hospital every day and give them some camaraderie with other kids and teenagers who understand what they're going through, and really just allow them the opportunity to be themselves and to be kids again and to have some fun, which doesn't always happen in the hospital.
We take kids with cancer out of hospitals all over the country, bring them together in a group in a major city, 10, 12 different major cities in this country, and let them spend a week together. We coordinate the events and activities, but the important thing is that these kids that have gone through the same experience are experiencing these activities together and are bonding with kids like them that they're comfortable with, that they can share these experiences with that they're going through, and to just see that we're doing the right thing.
I was diagnosed with T-cell lymphoma, and I was known for working with the Sunshine Kid all these years, so I proclaimed myself the world's oldest Sunshine Kid. The Sunshine Kids are an organization dedicated to improving a child's life who has cancer. But then you go down to another level, and it's getting into the kid's heart, it's getting into his brain, it's getting into his soul, that he's not alone.
This is an organization dedicated to children with cancer and to provide them with activities in which they can express themselves, have fun at the same time, and make friends with other patients around the country. And also assure the family that even though they're not there, the kid is well taken care of.
It's about the kids and it's about the families. And it's not about finding the cure, it's about curing the families themselves and helping the families. And that's the cool thing. When you see a child and what they're going through, and you see them at a Craig Biggio baseball party or a hill country motorcycle ride or a whitewater rat, they're forgetting all their problems. They're forgetting all their issues that they've got going on. And they're just going to be a kid just like everybody else for that day. And the Sunshine Kids that's what it's about. It's about just, we're all in this together.
The Sunshine Kids story began in 1980 when a very special lady named Rhoda Tomasco was a volunteer in the Children's Cancer Ward at a Houston hospital. The kids she met there broke her heart. The suffering, the indignity of chemotherapy, and in some ways, even worse, the terrible feeling of helplessness, isolation, and depression.
When I began working as a volunteer at MD Anderson Hospital, I was really touched by the children that I met there. I would just go up and visit with the kids, and I realized how lonely they were. So at one point I decided to do a few projects for them so they could get to know each other. I was really inspired with John Denver and his song, Sunshine on My Shoulders. So with that, to me, that power of sunshine and being able to look for something positive in your life or in your day was very strong for me. So I went out and bought some cookie cutters, a little star cookie cutter, brought it up to the hospital, bought clay and some paint. So the kids started making the sunshine pins, which we have today, but they were all handmade, and we passed them out to the doctors and nurses at the hospital. So that whole thing of seeing them to be able to have something in common and visit with each other and share how they were feeling, then this really inspired me to want to see if we could do more. So I went to the president of the hospital and asked him if I could plan a trip for children with cancer who were all leg amputees. And he said that if I could get the support of 3 major doctors saying that would be positive, that he would approve that for a trip for children with cancer to go on a ski event. Dr. Jampolsky, who was the doctor for young Ted Kennedy Jr., whose leg was amputated, he said, I think this is the most incredible idea. I'll be glad to support you. I'll even go on the trip with you because I know how much spirit can help with the treatment of these children who have cancer. And we had 10 children that went on that first trip. So our goal was to take these children and let them see that they could accomplish something that they never dreamt they could ever do before. It was all just a bit of a miracle, all the way through from 1980 until now. I have just been very fortunate that very wise people were attracted to come in, and one of those inspirational people was G.W. Bailey, whom I love like a brother.
My goddaughter, who lived in Vegas, had been invited through a set of circumstances to a trip with some kids. The Sunshine Kids was the name of the group, I remember. And it was a ski trip, and it's the only trip they did at that time. They were about 3 years old, maybe 4 at the most. And she went to this trip in the winter and sent me a video. When she came back from the trip, she was all excited. Oh, she met kids, and it really changed how she was approaching her problem, her disease. And I was excited for her. I was so excited that I took the video and put it on my shelf and never looked at it. That summer, she called. She was in Breckenridge, Colorado, and she wanted me to come up for the day. And I said, I can't. I'm too busy. You know, I had the house on the hill, and I had the boats and the swimming pool, and you know, I had all the stuff. And she said, I really want you to come. I said, sweetheart, I just can't come. I'm too busy right now. And she said, you are my godfather, and I want you here. And I won't repeat what I said to her. I said, you're a manipulative little whatever. And I said, her father was in show business, by the way. And I said, okay, I'll come. I said, but I'm coming for the day. I'll spend the night, and I have to fly out the next day. I said, you realize it's going to cost me $2,500, $3,000 to come up there just for the day. Her exact words, I'll never forget it. She said, whatever. It went in, and where all the trucks normally were was all food. It was like a potluck. Everybody had brought food. And then I heard a lot of noise, and I went through this door, and I took a right. And there were 25 kids, at least, with cancer, and they had a water hose fight going with the fire department guys, and they were all in the fire department, outfits. And I looked at that. Now, I'd seen her in the hospital at Sunrise Hospital in Vegas. But I had never seen 25 kids with cancer. I never saw that. So I went out to my car, my rental car, and I sat there and I cried. And about 10 minutes, and then I went back in. And from the fire department, I had to go to, they found a little store. I had to buy underwear and socks because I stayed there the rest of the week. And then when I got back, and that's where I got to know Rhoda. And when I got back to LA, I tore my television area apart looking for that tape that had been sitting up there for months that I'd never seen. And I looked at the tape. The next day, that day, I called Rhoda and set up an appointment. The next day, I flew to Houston. And I sat with her and with Rich Hooper. And I asked for permission to create a trip like the Winter Games I'd seen on the tape in California. I said, I explained to Rhoda we can't do the same. It's not the same physical challenge as skiing. But to me, from the beginning, what I was so drawn to were the kids being together. It was what happened to them as a group. That's what fascinated me, was the group. Seeing those 25 kids doing a common event. After I had my emotional moment, then I couldn't get these visuals out of my head. I said, I can do this. I can have that same experience at a studio. I can put 25 kids in the world I know, And since then, my relationship with Rhoda has always been, my job as a volunteer has always been expansion.
If there's a shortcoming of the organization, it's that they can't provide this for more kids around the country when there's so many, 5,000 to 10,000 patients diagnosed every year with cancer, pediatric patients. And obviously we serve just a small percentage of that. It would be nice to have this organization expanded even more and be able to have more kids participate.
When I think of the future of the foundation, I think that it will continue to attract to it very loving and caring people who will protect it like guardians, because it takes that strong will and it takes intelligence and it takes knowledge to protect this delicate thing that we are able to give to the children and their parents. And without that strength, we couldn't go on. But I really have confidence that with a strong board of directors who believe in the principles, that we'll always have those guardians. And down to the bottom core, they're there to protect the children and the children they have met themselves. That's where I see it going and going and going. I don't see it ending because it's spirit. Sunshine Kids is filled with spirit.